So, in the latest Dead by Daylight update 6.7.0, behavior has nerfed the perk Scourge Hook Pain Resonance. And previously, hooking survivors on a Scourge Hook with this perk would make the generator with the most progress regress by 15%, which would save you about 13.5 seconds if that generator was about to be completed. And you could do this 12 times throughout the match. Now, this new change makes the generator regress by 25%, which saves you a maximum of 22.5 seconds, so it has more regression. However, now it only triggers the first time you hook each survivor on a Scourge Hook, so you can only use it 4 times throughout the match. So, in order to use the new pain resonance effectively, you really need to play around it and consider 4 things. You need to track survivor hooks, track generator progression, save pain resonance for the mid game, and don't try to synergize it with other Scourge hooks. Now, let's look at the reasoning behind each of these. So, when you start a match with a new pain resonance, you will have 4 tokens on the perk, and these just represent the first hooks of each of the 4 survivors. So, every time you hook a survivor on a Scourge Hook for the first time, you'll lose a stack off of pain resonance. And you can just use this as a counter to see how many more times you can trigger pain resonance in the match. The side effect of this is that you really need to concentrate on survivor hook states, even more than usual. So this is a good killer skill to develop anyway, but with pain resonance, you need to remember not only who's been hooked, but whether they have been hooked on a Scourge Hook as well. And this can be really difficult to keep track of. Like, you might know that you've hooked everybody once already, but you might mix up which survivors were hooked on a Scourge Hook and which ones can still trigger the pain resonance. The second thing to consider is generator progress, and this is a game sense skill that you can develop with practice, but basically you need to know when generators are about to be completed. So imagine this situation where a generator is completed as soon as you down a survivor. You need to ask yourself, do you think that there is another gen close to being done? Because if not, it would be a waste to use a Scourge Hook with a survivor. So if you want to get full use out of pain resonance, you'll need to know when generators are about to be completed. And perks like Tinker or Merciless Storm might be able to help you with your decision making, but if you want to do it consistently, you're really going to have to develop that sense. And building on that last point, you want to use pain resonance when generators have the most progress. So if you manage to down a survivor at the very beginning of the game, gens aren't likely to have much progress on them. So in that case, it would be a mistake to hook a survivor on a Scourge Hook. Instead, you should put the survivor on regular hook and save their pain resonance for later in the match when generators are about to be completed. So I think we need to start thinking of pain resonance as more of a mid to late game perk. And that brings us to the final consideration. In the past, if you brought multiple Scourge Hook perks, you could get multiple advantages when you hooked a survivor on a Scourge Hook. However, with this new version of pain resonance, if you need to save triggering it for later in the game, you're wasting the opportunity to activate your other Scourge Hook abilities earlier on. And the fact that the new pain resonance forces you to be more selective when you hook survivors on Scourge Hooks means that you're losing a bit of synergy when you run multiple Scourge Hook perks. That's not to say that you can't run multiple of them together, but you're probably going to be less efficient. Now, personally, I think the new pain resonance is still very much viable. The old version gave you consistent generator regression throughout the match, which really helped slow down, but you didn't have to think about it because you could trigger it 12 times. This new pain resonance, however, really needs to be saved for key moments when you're in danger of losing a generator, and it requires a lot more thought and must be played around, which adds an extra layer of planning, which I actually enjoy. It definitely requires a lot more game sense to pull it off well, but that just makes it more rewarding when it does work. Now, I hope these considerations have given you some insight into how to play with the new version of Pain Resonance, and if you decide to try it out, I wish you luck.